Hello everyone, my name is Tejaswini and I am a transformation expert, a business strategist, an author, a speaker, a consultant to many startups, and a mother of two lovely girls. And I love spending time with my community, Transform Her. I love to meditate, I love to read, I love to write, and occasionally I also love to sing. And I am truly energetic throughout the day. That is what my Transform Her community members also tell me always. And when this comes to me and I hear about it, all of these things that I get done in a day, quite often, a lot of women reach out to me to say that, how do you make it happen or how do you accomplish so much in a day? And let me admit, it wasn't easy. It wasn't something that came to me by far naturally, right? I had to work on it. And the key to becoming a successful woman entrepreneur is to have the capacity to organize your workflow and think big. And keeping all your engines running at the same pace really requires you to plan things out. And today I'm going to be talking about planning in the time, managing time for success. So be it your business, be it your relationship, be it your kids, your home, or your me time, it could be anything, right? You got to plan that out. So if you ask me, there are many blogs, countless blogs, many websites dedicated to time management. There are so many apps, there are software programs, and they promise to make you more productive and be more organized. But let me tell you, the reality, however, is change comes from within, and that is what is important. So first, let's bring up that change inside of us and ensure then we start working on various tools that are available to ensure that we manage our time for success. I think that is what is important. Time anyways is like 24 hours in a day, and that's what everybody has in common. But how we manage ourselves throughout that day is something that is important, and I'm going to be throwing light on that today. So while technology can be really useful, the only true way to better manage your time is to meet your goals and to establish those new habits and new strategies. Okay, so today let's look at what are the new habits that you want to form and what are the new strategies that you want to create to make this year a year where you can manage your time more effectively while you're doing everything that you want in your business and at home. And today I'm going to share my secrets of managing time effectively. But just before we move ahead, let me ask you one thing. Are you a person who fails to plan, or plan but you fail to act on it? Or maybe you plan, you act on it, but there is an element of consistency that is missing on the action. So just identify where you are, okay? Or do you try to do too many things at the same time? Because I've seen women saying that women come with naturally multitasking. Okay, multitasking is fine, and I'll talk about that later. But the fact is that, are you spending too much time doing too many things, here and there at the same time? Or do you get fixed at one thing? Maybe you are a perfectionist and you want to complete that and then move. So you get fixed at one thing that you are doing, and that takes away a lot of your time. So if you are someone who actually even imagines the worst case scenario all the time, and that actually stops you from taking action, you know that it's very important. You keep thinking, you keep thinking, you keep thinking so much that you really do not take action. Which of these categories do you really fall in? So identify that, okay, so that it will become easier for you to start working on it. We all have our own ways. We all have our own strategies for failure. You heard me right. Yes, I'm talking about strategies for failure. We call this self sabotaging behavior. The best part is when we recognize them, we can do something about it. We can change them and we can work towards it, or whatever we are going to do, we can replace them, do whatever, but start building healthy business habits. But what is important is to identify and recognize. So I'm sure by now you have been able to put yourself where exactly is the issue that you have in terms of managing your time better. Okay, so and if you are here for that, you are going to put that on the surface. We are going to admit to certain things so we can work on them, process them, acknowledge them, and so that we can move faster in whatever we do. So today we are going to make a plan so we can work on them and can move faster. So I hope you're ready. I hope you have your pen, paper, pencil, whatever ready with you and ready to take notes, right? I told you, I told you, right? People reach out to me and like ask me, how do you accomplish so much? How do you keep everything so organized? You know what? I think the biggest thing that I want to get done was to take control of my time, because I knew if I could take control of my time, take charge of my time, things will be different in my life and in my business. So, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 tips that will help you, right? Once you get to know them, you will know how you can manage your time better, your own time. So, let's get started, okay? The number one thing I want you to understand is time is an allocation. You got to allocate time, okay? So time is an allocation. Just write it down, okay? What I mean by that is we all have 24 hours, and it's all about how we manage ourselves, right? Because everybody has 24 hours. It's all about how we managing ourselves to fit into this allocation of time. Now, there is a fantastic book. I'm sure, most of you must have heard about the book, have the book, read the book, but how are you taking the essence out of it, right? A very famous book called as Seven Habits to Effective People, to Highly Effective People, or Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, to be precise. Yes, it's by Stephen Covey. And in that book, he introduces a concept of the Eisenhower matrix. Okay, you don't want to remember the name. That's okay. If you remember, you can, learn about it better or know more. But let me explain that to you. I want you to imagine right now, I want you to imagine a square and break the square into 4 equal parts. So, 4 squares you have, right? So, it's like a matrix. You have 4 squares. Now, you can do one thing on the x axis, okay? On the x axis, you can ask yourself a question. Is the thing that I'm supposed to do important or not? Okay, so on the x axis, you write important and not important. So if you see, if you draw the square on the left hand side of your square, the first quadrant will be not important, the next quadrant to that will be important. Okay, and on the y axis, you on the standing line, you will ask yourself this question, okay, that I am supposed to do, whatever I'm supposed to do, is that urgent or not? So what you're going to have is urgent and important. So if you understand, it's going to be like the 4 squares. The first one at the top over there has not important, important. And on this side, on the y-axis, it has urgent and not important. Okay, so the 4 quadrants are ready. Each one of you has that ready, right? Now, these 4 quadrants are here. What the matrix will tell you is, the matrix basically says, if something is not urgent or not important, okay, now look at it, not urgent is down here and not important is the first corner, right? So the third one, if you sequence it, 1 2 3 4, so the third quadrant that you're looking at, which says it is not urgent and not important, what you do is you drop it, you don't attend it, right? Now that is the place, it's not urgent, it's not important, you drop it. Then it said, if it is anything that is urgent and important, where does that fall? Which quadrant is it? Urgent. It's urgent and it is important. So which is the quadrant? That is the second quadrant there, right? It is urgent, it is important, attend it because it is important, and that is it is clear. It is clearly urgent. Okay, if there is anything that is important but not urgent, okay, something that is important but not urgent, which is the fourth quadrant, write down there, it's important but it's not urgent. What are you going to do with that? You're going to schedule it, which means you can postpone it for a later date or park it up somewhere and probably put it in your calendar at a later date. It's something that you can do later. You can schedule it. It is something that is important, but it is not urgent. You got to do it, but not now. So you schedule it. And then if something that is urgent but isn't important, it is urgent but it's not important, which is the first quadrant. Okay, we are talking about, what you do is you delegate it, give it to someone else to do it. When I implemented this for the first time, right? Okay, before I move ahead, so what do you have in this four squares that you have? The first square talks about delegated, which is urgent and not important. The second quadrant, that is the second square, talks about it is important and urgent. That means you attend to it. The third square, the third quadrant that talks about is it is not important, it is not urgent. Okay, that means what you do with it, you drop it. And the fourth quadrant talks about it is urgent, sorry, it is important but it is not urgent. It is important but it is not urgent. Then what do you do with that? You schedule it. Okay, so we understood the four things, and this is the way you actually start allocating your time. So when I implemented this for the first time, it was like an aha moment for me. It was like the most clearest description of how to manage my time. And I really fell in love with it. So I spent my time in just recording my time every single day to know each of the things that I was doing in the hour or during the day needed to be in these four quadrants. And then I asked myself, where am I allocating my time? In these four quadrants, where does my time go? And I realized that none of them are actually zero or none of them are 100%. Okay, everywhere there is some sort of percentage that arrived. So I realized that this was a mix. The allocation for me and for the first step was like, okay, where am I putting the most amount of time? What is the type of work that I'm doing? So once I identified that, it was easier for me to go ahead and plan my day, because I knew there is something that I can attend right away. There's something that I can delegate. I knew that there is something that I need to really drop off, which is really not required, and I keep thinking about it. And then there is something that I can schedule and still get it done. Okay, so these things are very important, and what is important is how you allocate that and you work towards it so that you get most of the things done during the day or towards the week or towards the month or towards the year, right? So you will actually start getting the picture and start visualizing how your day would really look. Okay, and I really take up a detailed activity in my one-to-one coaching with this. We actually sit into each quadrant, put the percentages and all that, and then we actually start creating time for success. Also, I have a detailed course available on this. To know more, you can just drop me a message and I can reply to you with that entire course detail. Okay, but but what you need to know right now is allocation. Time is allocation. Okay, the first thing. The second concept of time is that the second tip that I'm going to share is understand this. Time is energy. Now, a lot of times people also ask me this question: how can you be energetic, so energetic throughout the day? Whenever I see you, whether it's a morning or evening or whatever time, you seem to be energetic. Let me share a little bit about this part here. Time is energy. When we say to ourselves or to the world that I do not have time to do something, what we really mean is that we do not have the energy to do that, because time is like fixed. Okay, we don't have the energy, or probably we have not allocated the time properly. So now let's understand in what form energy, in what form. Now, energy typically is in four forms. Okay, so let's talk about physical energy. And physical energy is determined by what you eat, how much you sleep, what type of exercise you do, or whether you eat right or not. It's all about the physical attribute towards giving yourself that physical energy. So if you realize in the morning, if you start your day with a real healthy type of a food or a drink or whatever, you really start feeling that towards the day. So what you consume, what you eat, and the way you sleep and all is all the physical form of energy, the exercise and everything, right? The second form of energy is the mental energy, and it comes from the fact that you actually are spending time doing things that feed your soul. Now, whether it is meditation or whatever you feel that feeds your soul, that is what you should really look at. Okay, even if it is sleeping for like 8 9 hours, and if that feeds your soul, that's absolutely fine. So it's all about that mental energy. Okay, so how you build up on that. The third type of energy is the emotional energy. Now, what kind of conversations do you have with yourself? Are they generally positive, or are they self criticizing? What type of conversation do you have with yourself? Okay, do you believe in your own self? Now that is to do something with your emotional energy. So when your emotional energy is high up, your physical energy is high up, and even your emotional energy is high, a lot of things come together for you to perform much better with high energy levels. And finally, the fourth one is the spiritual energy. So how in your world, towards how you approach things. Okay, now spirituality for each one has a different sort of definition. So you need to figure that out for you. What is your spiritual energy like generally? Being honest, are you committed? What are you thinking about, when you are actually connecting with people? So is it positive, is it negative? So all that spiritualism also comes into play. So if you meditate, yeah, go ahead and do that, or any form of spiritual energy that you can gain, you should. So the energy plays a very important role. So time is energy, and your allocation and your energy is when they come together, you will see a amazing stuff that you start creating in your life. Okay, so generally commenting, you'll think about these four aspects: the energies, the physical energy, the mental energy, the spiritual energy, your emotional energy. You recognize how this this part of it you can use for your time allocation. Okay, so which was the first concept, time allocation, and the second is the energy allocation. So we spoke about that. Okay, let's let's look at a certain example out here. I really wake up early in the morning. So when I wake up early in the morning, I try getting a lot of things done early, because it really feeds to give me that sort of energy, all the four energies that I talked to you about. And this is like a bonus tip to you, right? The second part is, one trick you wake up early is, you got to be able to sleep early, and that is something which is very difficult these days, right? We have so many distractions. We have our mobile phones, we have games, we have Facebook to look at, we have Instagram, and sometimes we want to catch up with that in late in the evening. So if you could actually make use of this particular stuff to be done during the day in the pockets, it might really help to save a lot of time towards the evening, where if you can sleep a little early, getting up a little early, and having those very energetic hours in the morning, makes a lot of sense. So whatever you want to do, you want to exercise, you want to meditate, you want to do whatever, that's the ask. Because for you, for yourself, a lot of things are already taken care before you start running the day, like before your kids are up, before the family members are up, before you actually start doing so many things, right? So just spend time with your own self, and then you can start your day at about 8:30, 9:30, whatever works for you, right? And that's where you can align your energies and allocate the time. Okay, the energy segment plays a very important role. Okay, so these are the two most important things. And then what is most important, the third one is time is money. Time is money. Here is, it's a very shaky thing, or whatever I want to put. We have heard about this quite a lot, but how do you really implement this, and how do you know about it? So what, time is money. So whatever time you are spending in your activities for the work related stuff, ensure that you are spending that activity towards money making activity. So what you love doing in your business may not necessarily be something that you will bring in money. Okay, so the other day when I was talking to one of the person while I was coaching, so this person liked doing some artwork. Now, liking to do the artwork and really creating those pieces and keeping it ready as a product is something that you love in your business. But is it really a money making activity? Yes, probably you can have just one product which is made. And then what you're thinking about, how do you sell it? And that is what is your money making activity. So understand, what is it that you are putting. Time is money. Okay, the third thing. So what are the activities that you are doing during the day which are money making activities in your business? So like a sales calls versus something that you love doing in your business. Okay, so that's what you need to really start looking at, and start allocating your time and start allocating your energies to it. Okay, so today what you're going to do is make a plan. Make a plan. First of all, understand what are the top goals for this year. Allocate your time accordingly, because that's what your focus is all about, right? This is what you want to be spending time to do this particular year. Allocate your time accordingly, focus on your energies, and focus on the money making activities in your business. Okay, so that was all about planning. I'm sure you will make a plan for yourself today. Start working on this as soon as stop watching this video. Make a plan, make your matrix, get things ready. So put your goal in place and see what you want to put day in and day out. Okay, so stay tuned for the next video. I will be talking about prioritizing tomorrow.